I'd like to call the meeting of the City Council Public Financing Authority to order. City Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Twining,
Present.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon,
Here.
Mayor Burns,
Here.
Councilmember Vandermark,
Here.
Councilmember Strickland,
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
All right, would anybody like to make a comment? Any council members?
I do, Mayor. Just real quick, just want to congratulate the Edison High School football team for winning the state championship. Go Chargers, even though I'm a Viking, but go Vikings.
Mayor, I also would like to congratulate the Edison High School for winning the state championship. It's quite an accomplishment. And then I also want to send out to everybody, our staff, everybody in the city, a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of our citizens. I believe this is the last meeting we have before the Christmas holiday season. So I hope everybody stays safe and enjoys their holiday season with their family.
Don?
As Tony said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to the city of Huntington Beach. I'm honored to be one of your representatives, and although I'm an Oiler, great job, Chargers.
We're trying to put something together, hopefully some kind of recognition for them at the council level. I don't know what we're going to end up doing, but hopefully. All right, anybody else?
I also just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and congratulate the Chargers. Hopefully you're bringing them in for a Mayor Spotlight Award, I believe.
Yeah, at
Okay,
this
pretty cool.
point.
Well, congratulations.
Me too. I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas. Thanks for all the help that staff has given myself and my running mates over here the last couple weeks. We've been inundated with briefings, and they've all been very good. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Congratulations, Chargers.
Butch managed to stretch that one out, too. Jeez.
Merry Christmas and way to go, Chargers.
All right. City Clerk, do we have any supplemental communication?
We have one. I thought Amory said he had one. No. No.
Okay. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No, not for this portion.
All right. I don't need to read this section then, do I? Okay. Closed session announcement, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 45957.6, agency designated representatives Travis Hopkins, acting city manager. Also in attendance, Marissa Sir, Director of Human Resources, Michael E. Gates, City Attorney, and David Kane, Interim Chief Financial Officer. Employee organization, Huntington Beach Municipal Teamsters. Also conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representatives, Travis Hopkins, acting city manager. Also in attendance, Marissa Sir, Director of Human Resources, Michael E. Gates, City Attorney, and David Kane, Interim CFO. Employee organization, Management Employees Organization, and then also conference with labor negotiators, agency designated representatives, Travis Hopkins, acting city manager. Also in attendance, Marissa Sir, Director of Human Resources, Michael E. Gates, City Attorney, and David Kane, Interim CFO. Employee organization, Marine Safety Management Association. Public employee appointment, title city manager. Council, do I have a motion and a second to recess?
Second.
All right, so moved, closed session. Authority and call to order special meetings of the House Authority, Parking Authority, and successor agency. City Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Twining,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon,
Here.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Here.
Mayor Pat Burns,
Here.
Councilmember Vandermark,
Here.
Councilmember Strickland.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
All right, start with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Don Kennedy. Oh, Don split again. You're leading it, Don.
Pledge allegiance.
Okay, tonight's invocation will be done by Reverend James Pike. Is he here?
Hello.
Oh, there he is. I was looking over here.
Let us pray. Be with us, Almighty God, during this holy season, that you might bring your gifts of hope, peace, joy, and love. And for every person who has no room, for everyone who's in a manger, may you open our hearts to their needs and strengthen our concern for our neighbors who need our love. We ask you to bless those who have been elected to lead our city. May you give them all your wisdom, all your guidance, and a heart for the common good and all the decisions they will be called to make. And we ask this in your holy name. Amen.
City Attorney, do you have anything to report from closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing tonight.
Tony, you got an
Yeah,
announcement?
Mary, I have an announcement for the community. Item on tonight's agenda, poll item number 15. The advocates have pulled this item in order to accommodate some outstanding issues.
And you can number them and the consent calendar. Oh, mostly.
City Clerk, do we have any supplemental communications?
Yes. On the consent calendar for items number 14, 15, and 22, 101 communications. For council member items number 24 and 25, 2 communications.
City Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, we do. 24 speakers.
All right. Proper decorum at city council meetings is imperative in order for the public to remain informed about issues pertaining to the city's business. The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the public to be heard and address those issues in a public forum. Disruptive behavior, impeding or delaying our ability to conduct the council's business will not be tolerated. California Penal Code Section 403 prohibits disrupting this meeting, and enforcement actions will be taken for violations of this law. At this time, the City Council will receive comments from members of the public regarding any topic, including items on the open session agenda. Individuals wishing to provide a comment may do so in person by filling out a request to speak form delivered to the city clerk. All speakers are encouraged but not required to identify themselves by name. Each speaker may have up to 3 minutes unless the volume of speakers warrants reducing the time allowance. At this time, we're going to limit everybody to 2 minutes. Please note that the Brown Act does not allow discussion or action on topics that are not on the agenda. Members of the public who would like to speak directly with a council member on an item not on the agenda may consider scheduling an appointment by contacting the City Council's administrative assistant at 714-536-5553 or emailing the entire City Council at city.council@surfcity-hb.org. Okay, council committee appointment announcement. Oh, yeah. That's right. City Clerk, start calling names.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, please.
2 minutes, thank you. First speakers are Mr. Amory Hansen, Andrew Einhorn, Diane Bentley, Barbara Richardson, David Reinerson, Phil Burtis, Steve Parsons, Ken Inoue, Charlie Jackson, Pat Goodman.
Go ahead and start, ma'am.
Barbara Richardson, 51-year resident. I'm here tonight to ask council to reconsider having Symphony of Flowers in the Central Park. Surely there must be somewhere else in the city that could host this ongoing event without disturbing the Central Park wildlife. Central Park is home to the great horned owls who have been nesting there for decades. This park is home to Canadian geese, Egyptian geese, egrets, mudhens, hawks, and a variety of different types of birds and ducks. Recently, a bald eagle has been spotted there. This is the place where the endangered monarch butterflies stop during their migration. Raccoons, possums, rabbits, skunks, squirrels, frogs, and lizards all live there. How is an ongoing night show going to affect all these creatures? As for residents, won't a fence have to be installed around this area to keep people from entering? Is the fencing going to cut off walking trails, access to different sections of the park? If up to 4,000 people are expected throughout the evening, will porta potties need to be installed? If so, how many? Who will maintain them and keep them stocked? Will extra security need to be hired? Is the city going to have to pay for this? I would also like to mention that this program will affect library parking. Even though the Central Library closes at 5 p.m. on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, there are often evening events being held inside the library after it closes. There are also nighttime sports events. Where are these people going to park? Please, I ask you, find another site for this event. The wildlife of Central Park will thank you. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Diane Bentley, and I'm a 23-year resident of Huntington Beach. I'm speaking tonight about item 15 on tonight's consent calendar, the proposed license agreement for operation of the Symphony of Flowers installation in Central Park. The proposal is exceedingly premature due to lack of transparency about the environmental and noise impacts of such an installation, lack of sufficient notice to stakeholders in the neighborhood and other HB residents who utilize Central Park, and lack of enforceable mitigation measures for the enormous disruption to the physical environment and the habitat for local animal and bird species. And all of that is before one considers the lack of a rationale for privatizing a public park and the public parking lots surrounding it, and the lack of reliable information about the fiscal benefits of such a disruptive installation in the middle of the city. This is the wrong endeavor in the wrong location, and the fact that you are proposing to vote on it before seeking the input of HB citizens suggests that there is something nefarious going on that you're trying to hide from us, but we will find out. Thank you.
Andy Einhorn for the people of Huntington Beach. The newly elected council members have a critical mandate: fix Huntington Beach. The community demands action, ensure financial stability, repair our crumbling roads, and generally protect our libraries and not just pay lip service. Enough with the rhetoric and grandstanding over national issues. Stop squandering taxpayer money over frivolous legal battles. The air show settlement failure is a glaring example of irresponsible governance, a financial disaster now saddling taxpayers with an estimated $1 million annually for 40 years. Leadership needs independent judgment, accountability, and the courage to break free from groupthink. The choice to lead, to act in the best interest of Huntington Beach and build bridges with the community is yours. What I will not tolerate is a lack of transparency. Item 25-643, which you've taken off for tonight, stands as a blatant example of deception, plain and simple. I strongly oppose lighting up Central Park. It's a reckless proposal that threatens to disturb residents, harm wildlife, and destroy the natural beauty of our park. Must we resort to court orders to obtain transparency and accountability we deserve? Huntington Beach demands better. It's time for you to deliver.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Ken Inoue. I'm a 50-year resident of Huntington Beach. I've been coming to the City Council meetings for over a year, requesting that the City Council prepare and present a financial plan for the city. I have made this request because based upon the facts that we have available to us, I believe we are facing a severe financial crisis. Fact, we have presented a budget that shows a deficit in the coming years. In order to balance the budget, it's very possible that we may have to cut city services. And if that's not successful in balancing the budget, it may be possible, may be required for the city to impose an additional source of revenue, such as a city sales tax. Fact, we are facing severe infrastructure need to replace our infrastructure. And if we do not have the monies needed to replace our infrastructure, the city may need to borrow the money to pay these bills. And in order to pay these make the bond payments, the city may need to raise its city property taxes in order to pay these bills. Fact, if the city does not have a viable financial plan, when we go to the bond market, we may be required to pay additional interest, which could cost the city tens of millions of dollars in additional interest. Members of the City Council, particularly Pat, we are facing, I believe, a fiscal challenge. And I hope that you can present a plan that will outline the challenges that we face, because perhaps we can take some proactive action now to reduce the impact of these financial crises on all of the people living in the city. Thank you.
David Reinerson, 27-year resident. If today's meeting is an example of what we can expect from the new City Council and City Clerk, then I'm sorry to say you're off to a terrible start. First, there is item 15 on the agenda, the Flowers of the Sky proposal. This item appears on the consent calendar, meaning no discussion, even though there is only a placeholder for the proposed contract. This prevents the public from reviewing the financial and environmental impacts of the proposed contract. Approval would place a private event in our public park for 8 months of the year for 4 or potentially 5 years. The lack of transparency is staggering and gives every appearance of cronyism, if not outright corruption. Then there is the petition to repeal the Citizens Book Review Ordinance. We know from public reporting that the Registrar of Voters sent the City Clerk confirmation that the petition qualified on December 10th. Repeated requests to the City Clerk for confirmation have gone unanswered. And given that the petition qualified, the City Council is under legal obligation to take one of 3 actions according to the California Election Code. Yet this item has not even been placed on today's agenda. The stonewalling is a violation of the rights of the citizen who spent 6 months qualifying this petition. You should be ashamed.
Steve Parsons, I'm the Commodore at the Huntington Harbor Yacht Club, here to express my support for item number 22. But first, I want to congratulate you all for the latest of the elections. And Pat, man, Gracie's really raised the bar for you, man, so you got your job cut out for you. So, good job, Fab 7, but also I want to include Lisa. Let's make it the Fab 8. How about that? All right? Okay, so item number 22 is the resolution number 2409, the California grant for Public Works, $1.5 million. I'm here for the members of the Yacht Club and the members of Huntington Harbor for the public dock there at the Yacht Club. The dock is in really bad shape. I sent a estimate and an inspection report on the dock to Chris Korn, and I also CC'd Mike on that, on the condition of the dock. It's fallen apart. We really need a dock. I've gone to the Harbor Commission before, talked to them about it. They've gave you their recommendations also. So it's public safety. on that public dock. The yacht club is in charge of the dock, but it's open to the public. The launch ramp, that whole facility right there is in really bad condition. Also the parking lot. So I recommend a concrete dock, by the way. It'd be nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Mr. Amory Hanson. I'm speaking tonight in support of item 24, the mayor and Councilman McKeon and Vandermark's proposal to create health and safety standards for high-density developments. The council should do its best to protect health and safety without impeding the opportunities of residents. One way to do this is to ensure residents are in healthy and safe living environments. Traffic is a particular concern. It is currently difficult for Huntington Beach to advocate for quality public transportation. High-density development could increase traffic. Overcrowding should also be reduced. As President Lincoln once said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." No more high-density malarkey. Let's ensure residents have safe and healthy homes. Once again, I urge a yes vote on item 24. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Burns and City Council, Pat Goodman. And I came tonight to speak on items 24 and 25. And 24 is the high-density residential development health and safety criteria recommended action. And I just have a few questions that I thought that our city already has codes and enforcement and Cal OSHA that there are safety measures in place. And if that's a concern, I guess we need to hear about it, but I'm not aware of anything in the pipeline about that. So I'd be curious to know how the current laws and codes, policies, and procedures at the state and local levels protect health and safety of workers, residents, and wildlife. And we do know that we offer quite an array of affordable housing here in the city. And there's a site inventory list in the planning department's website that's very handy, and we can see and know where these units are throughout the city. And I think that we have a very good record in developing affordable housing here that's aesthetically fitting within the neighborhoods they're in, and that oftentimes most people don't realize that they're affordable units or projects. So we definitely need more of it. There's waiting lists, we know, for affordable housing, and to keep up with the aging population that we have here, we want to be proactive in that arena. We do see overcrowding in the housing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Charlie Jackson, a 23-year resident of Huntington Beach. I'm not sure how we got here, and everyone has their own story about how we got here. But here we are, and some books that belong in the children's section of the library are up on the 4th floor. Mayor Pat Burns, I'd like to request that the book by Taro Gomi, Everyone Poops, be returned to the children's section. The book was first released 40 years ago and has been available in these United States of America for over 30 years. There are only a few cases where the book has been banned. It is a book about potty training. The book is recommended for children that are 3 months to 3 years old. However, pages 17, 18, 19, 23, and 27 show partial nudity, but the images are not very precise and are not offensive in my opinion. In conclusion, Mayor Pat Burns, I want to ask you to request that the book by Taro Gomi, Everyone Poops, be returned to the children's section. And since I have a lot of extra time, I hope you will approve the Verizon cell phone tower. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Phil Burtis, and I want to make a comment about the light show in Central Park. There are other eloquent speakers that will tell you they don't approve of the project, and whatever they say, I agree with that. But I'm here as a representative of 42 homes that are directly across the street from the Slater parking lot that leads into Central Park. And if you were to come to our neighborhood on Civil War days or Rev War days or Easter or other days where there's big events in the park, you'd find there would be no place for us to park in our neighborhood. And you'd say, why don't you park in your driveway? And you would find out that in our neighborhood, the Olive View tract, the city back in the day approved short driveways. So many houses in our neighborhood tract don't actually even have a driveway where you can park your car. So I would just like to plant a seed that says, on the odd chance, I know it doesn't happen very often, but on the odd chance the council would vote for something that maybe some of the residents didn't want, that would you please consider for those of us in the Olive Park tract to give us some sort of a resident-only parking permit during the time of the event or something like that, because I'd like to come home from work and actually be able to park my car. So thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Susan Arnold, and I'm here about agenda number 1524-643, the approval of the license for the Flowers in the Sky Entertainment LLC. Please don't vote for this thing. First of all, it's with the public library park, so I understand it's going to be there for many months. So what's going to be entailed? Thousands of LED flowers. Yippee. But you're going to charge for these things. Okay, where are people going to park? What about the other events, like the concourse in June? How about the Labor Day Civil War reenactment? Are they going to be impaired? Are they going to be eliminated? What about the wildlife there? What about the geese? What about the ducks? What about the squirrels? Yes, I know they're little timid creatures, but it's natural. You're taking away our green space for this electronic LED flowers. I'm sorry, we're not LA, we're Orange County. I enjoy my park. I enjoy walking through it. I enjoy the grass and the trees. I don't want to see thousands of LED flowers and then you guys are going to charge for it? No. Do not change that agenda. Our parks are for our people, us, our taxpayers that we paid for. I'm sorry, I want my natural park. I don't want to see thousands of man-made flowers. You want to put flowers? Put some real flowers in there. Put some tulip bulbs. That would be a better suggestion. It'll be lively. It'll be wonderful. It'll be beautiful in the springtime. That's my opinion. Don't vote for this thing. Please reject it. Don't go behind closed doors and say, all right, we're going to vote for this now. Please don't do this. I appeal to you. Let us keep our natural green spaces green. Let us enjoy our parks in the spring, summer, fall. Thank you so much.
Evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. Adam Wood with the Building Industry Association and Building Industry Legal Defense Foundation tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on item 24 in very strong opposition. Here really to clarify these issues. It's a bit of a head scratcher as we read these. You know, it says right here, studies show overcrowding are going to increase infectious diseases. 30 seconds on Google will show cities like Miami, New York, Austin, Denver, Seattle, Los Angeles, they all have higher life expectancies than the national average. There's nothing that holds water in these claims, right on the out front of it. At best, I think what might be happening here is a conversation about density versus overcrowding and conflating these two. I think it's interesting that you're singling out the one-bedroom apartments and all that kind of stuff. That's not the problem. Density is building a one-bedroom and studio. Overcrowding is when you have 3 or 4 families living in a one-bedroom. That's a code enforcement issue. That is not a construction issue. Again, meaning there's no reason to move forward with this item tonight. Trying to invent health and safety impacts, I understand probably what the intent of this is. It's a nice maybe in run on some of the state housing laws. It doesn't hold up under any of the objective standards that are put forward tonight. The first line is borderline slanderous. It's pretty shocking. In fact, you're actually voting tonight to confirm that none of these issues actually exist in the city on another agenda item. So it's a head scratcher. I hope you can clarify. Thanks.
Next 10 speakers, Guest P, Ann Palmer, Larry Slonim, Michael Rogers, Michelle Rogers, Tom Dillman, Russell Neal, Jonathan Bonwit, Brian Thenis, Christopher Rini. Please come to the podium.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Burns and council members, and congratulations to our new council members. Well, you guys are a sight for sore eyes. My name is Brian Thenis. I'm here to speak about the Bolsa Chica Senior Care Facility. Hopefully I'll have something else to talk about in the future, but Councilman Strickland, you might be interested to find, we checked with the California Department of Housing and Community Development, and they say that, and they have a checklist, senior housing that consists of separate living quarters for residents are considered housing units. And so I believe this specific plan that was adopted on basically false pretenses. It's a residential facility. It should follow the RMH zoning. CG says for residential uses, follow RMH zoning standards, development standards. That's 70 units total for this project. So it's more than double the density. And the developer said, oh, we only need about a 10% increase. They needed about a 120% increase on the density to get this facility approved. What I also found, which is really cool, check this out. The specific plan that was all approved by council the other night said that this was prepared pursuant to section 65450 of the State of California Government Code. And that code says, a specific plan may be adopted by resolution or by ordinance and may be amended as often as deemed necessary by the legislative body. A specific plan may be repealed in the same manner as it was required to be amended. 20 seconds. So we could take that away. We could redo it, and what we need to do is if they developed a standard that says the maximum floor area ratio is 1.75, actually they get a 10% increase on that, and we can go back and say, hey, we want to add the maximum residential density, which is 70 units, and add that, because you didn't approve the plans.
Thank you, sir.
Well said. Good evening, council members and new mayor there. My name is Jonathan Bonwitz, resident of Huntington Beach for 15 years. I want to commend you on fighting Sacramento. You're doing it. You're winning them. I love it. I loved hearing it on X. Congratulations. I'm here to ask you to vote in favor of item number 25, develop an ad hoc committee to research the Bolsa Chica Senior Care Center. I think there's ample probable cause to approve this measure. A lot of what was given by the developer was erroneous, misleading information. The biggest thing that points out to me is all the parking studies and all the other cascading studies that derive from that are based on 159 beds. You've heard that number, 159, 159. That's it. Well, guess what? That's the minimum number of residents. Clearwater has in every one of their apartment rental agreements, in all their facilities, every tenant has the right to bring in extra beds into their units. Boom! It doubles the density from 159 to 318 beds. What does that do? Well, that scrambles the parking study. We need more parking spaces for that. You need more employees. It increases the number of visitors because you've doubled the number of tenants. The number of deliveries boosts up, the EIR. The dominoes fall, and this one misleading fact they withheld from you is cause for you to vote to approve this ad hoc committee. It deserves further research. We're not talking about 159 beds here. We're talking 318, double the density that they've been proposing. Totally misleading. They've been gaming us. Enough is enough. It needs more research. Vote yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Larry Slonim. I've been a resident of Huntington Beach for 40 years plus.
I'm here to speak about item number 15, and I'm glad that it was pulled from the consent calendar, so I appreciate that. It's premature. There's a lot more study that needs to go into it. The addendum is probably about 60, 70 pages long that make it to the approve or make an addendum to the Parks Master Plan. And the master plan is probably 550 pages long, and that needs to be evaluated in context with the addendum that's been proposed and the amount of time that anybody has or a resident has to look at these things is just way too long. And I don't know that you guys have done that. It hasn't been that long since the measure was introduced about doing the Symphony of Flowers. So there are more impacts that ought to be taken into account. How it's going to look in the park, how it's going to impact the park, all kinds of aesthetic measures, environmental measures that have been proposed may or may not work. It would be nice to have something like that. It's our park. It's a master plan for our park, for the city's park. We should have input on that instead of being not just on a consent calendar, just being run through the city council all by itself. There should be hearings on that or meetings, local meetings, to have input from local residents. You need to hear back from just somebody other than just a EIR consultant. You need our input. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, city staff, and fellow residents of Huntington Beach. My name is Tom Dillman, and I sit on the board of Cabo de Mar's HOA. In this matter, I also speak for the HOAs for Brightwater and Parkside Estates, as well as the apartment complexes on Cambridge and Monticello, which are by the Bolsa Chica project here. To sum up, the people that live there, their message hasn't changed. They want to see this project get reduced to no more than 3 stories, and additional parking integral to the project be put in. So that's why I'm here tonight to speak in favor of items 24-893 and 895. As you can see from my second slide, it's definitely needed because it's with a new city council that's overwhelmingly against high-density developments, now possible to develop additional criteria and guidance to our planning department to ensure that they fully understand the direction that our city council wants to steer the city. Speaking as a Gulf War combat vet, we call that the commander's intent. Without it, staff will operate on autopilot or pay perhaps too much attention to developers like Hines. Hines didn't become a $93 billion corporation by accident. It also puts future developers on notice that they won't get a free pass for high-density development. The proposed ad hoc committee, in my opinion, is an excellent way to overcome the damage caused by the Newsom threesome, who functioned as sock pockets for Sacramento and to forestall the unnecessary litigation that could take years to come. It's important to realize that these proposals are not etched in stone like the 10 Commandments. That's why it's important for you, the ad hoc committee, to take a hard look at it and hopefully get a motion to rescind. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council, Mayor Pro Tem, and staff. I'm grateful that you're in your place, and thank you so much for your service. My name is Michael Rogers, and I reside at off of Ford Drive, just on the other side of Slater, and I'm here to oppose, at least at this point, the item that I'm grateful to hear that you've pulled off the agenda, at least for tonight, and that is number 15, the Flowers of the Sky entertainment consideration there. I've only just recently heard about it, and that's a little disheartening in some ways, just because I happen to be, I feel as though, other than one of the earlier gentlemen that spoke, he lives closer to Slater, our track is just behind that. We'd be severely impacted by this, I believe, only by the noise and the hours that it would be going on. So I don't know enough about it to really speak on the issue totally oppose it, but it doesn't sound like a good idea from what I've seen. I would like for you to at least consider in the future, if it comes to something like this, particularly when it's that close to residential and it's something that would go on that late at night, that you would perhaps put out mailers or something that would at least give us a list. I think that there would be a lot more people, and you may have pulled that issue because there's been some response on it, which tells me that the system's working, and I really appreciate the fact that you would even consider that, and that is that there's a lot of opposition to it. Well, there's a lot of people who really don't know about it that might be even greater impacted about it, and the ones that I've talked to within our neighborhood, which is about 50 residents behind the 42 that's on the other side of the wall from us, I think that they would be here tonight if they could be, just to be in opposition to it. But I can't say that because I don't know enough about the project to know. But what I do know about it, what I was able to read through I think it was 80-something pages, it didn't sound like a good thing for us, at least knowing the impact for us. Sound attenuation and EIRs and those kind of things I'm familiar with through being in rock crushing for many years. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Michelle Rogers, and I am thankful to be here to speak in front of the City Council and the Mayor. And I just want to state my opposition as well to the item number 15. I'm grateful that it's going to be postponed and maybe get some more community information out to the community that we might be able to find out more about it, learn more, and have more input. Thank you.
Good evening, Chris Rini, Huntington Beach native. Thank you for shelving item 15. I'm not against Symphony of Flowers coming to Huntington, but I believe the current proposal is bad. The proposal disregards Measure C of the city charter. The people are supposed to vote on uses of the park, especially one that fences off 345,000 square feet for 8 months. Central Library is open to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Would we be closing the library early in order to get more parking just for Symphony of Flowers? The addendum to the Master Environmental Impact Report states that Symphony of Flowers only needs 700 to 800 kilowatt hours of power per day, but does not say where it's coming from, just that they're not using generators. There's a lack of transparency that is kind of disturbing. We've been hosting a Civil War event and a Revolutionary War event for years. The Civil War has been going on for, I believe, 35. Why is it that they cannot lock in a date for 2025? Lastly, this event is not as unique as one might think. Descanso Gardens has a festival of lights. It goes from November to January every night. The price is comparable to Symphony of Flowers, and you can go to Downtown Disney and see World of Color every night for free. No ticket, just show up. Are we really sure that we can sell at least 900 seats every night for 6 months straight for 3 years? And even if we can, for a first-time new event, why is the corporation only paying $50,000 up front for rental and we only get $2 per ticket? We should do better. Thank you.
Hi, Ann Palmer, and I'm here. It's December in Huntington Beach, and I wanted to talk about celebrating. December is a month of celebration. Next slide. So one thing we're going to celebrate is a belated happy birthday to Mayor Pat Burns. And a merry greeting to all 7 of you. It's wonderful to see you up there. Okay, next slide. The December celebration is appreciating Huntington Beach's ecological legacy. That's our celebration month. The next slide. So I wanted to thank the City Council for setting up the celebration calendar and for the staff for doing an amazing job at pulling together the themes and helping us out on the committee. The Nature Ecological Resources Month moves to April for 2025. I have permission to tell you that, but it'll be a little more appropriate. December's not a great month to hit the wetlands and our parks. But Tonight, is this celebration month just a little bit ironic, considering the proposal for the Symphony de Fleur, or the Flower Symphony? So I have mixed feelings. I want to say I've got 2 minutes. I spent 4.5 hours going over all the documentation, and the least amount of time I could take talking about it is 8 minutes. So I'm glad you tabled it, because that was my recommendation. There are advantages. We do need revenue, but I think it's a problem in this community that we don't have event space. And the litmus test on this for me was, could we put it at the sports park and not have an uproar? Or are we going to put it on the library? And also, it was a bit disingenuous for the creator to call the area urban and state that the lights and the noise wouldn't have an effect because it's already an urban area. It's our open space. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Russell Neal, and I live in Huntington Beach. Having missed the swearing in of our new council members at the last meeting, I wanted to add my congratulations tonight for your hard-fought, well-deserved, and very welcomed victory. Michael Gates, the Fab Four, HB3, our new city clerk, have all attracted wide attention for their political success while promoting an unapologetic conservative agenda in this supposedly deep blue state. Your courageous stands have not only brought you electoral success, but have been validated by the voters in their passing of Measures A, B, and most recently Measure U. Looking at the national scene, we have reason to hope that your success here is part of a larger return to sanity in the nation and even the world. I encourage you to continue your fight for the citizens of Huntington Beach in the years to come. Some of you will also be sworn in as members of the Orange County Republican Central Committee in 4 weeks, and I hope you will be able to influence that body to also stand and fight for our constitutional federal republic and its principles. Lord knows they could use that influence. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Good evening. I am Justine Makoff with Free Reign Foundation at the Huntington Central Park Equestrian Center, and I'm so grateful for all of you who are here, Honorable Mayor Pat Burns, and somebody said earlier you've got some big shoes to fill, so somebody set the bar quite high. I am here because already you guys have shown up in a really big way. We just recently had an event at the Equestrian Center. It was to celebrate the Day of the Horse, and you showed up. And really, I just hope you know that to support the local nonprofits in our community is such a big thing, and for you to come and share your time and expertise whenever we have these events in any way is really so impactful. We had over 550 people. A majority of them did come from our community here in Huntington Beach, thanks to Eventbrite and all that good data that they share with us. So I hope you continue to show up for us. I am really passionate about Free Reign Foundation and the Equestrian Center, and believe that it's such a gem for our community, and we want to continue to do everything we can to be a good partner for you and our community. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to address this monstrosity of a gift shown here from former Mayor Disgracie that she gave to the elected officials that had the misfortune of serving during her reign. But to you good citizens out there, if you like to fight the resistance of the red hats we have up here on the dais, we have go to www.protecthb.org, sign up for newsletters and details on how to fight the good fight. Disgracie, had you invested some time in education, a high school diploma, or some classes in decorum, you would have known better. I was happy to hear one of the elected officials return their slap-in-the-face gift back to you unopened. You, as a former mayor, and your gift will go down in history as one of HB's, well, here, let me read what some of the pissed off good citizens of HB wrote to describe you and your abomination of a gift. They called you trashy, zero class, despicable, gloating, insulting, classless, rude, disrespectful, in the garbage, slap in the face, despicable, revengeful, pettiness, ugly, no class, gross, disgusting, horrible, ridiculous, dictator, freak, control freak, a buffoon, ugly, hypocrite, mentally challenged, no heart, zero empathy, sicko, low class, lack of integrity, leadership, respect, no dignity, hostile, terrible, sad, evil, mentally ill, and so on and so forth. You will go down in history like that. That kind of person. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Ma'am, if you'd like to try to set up a one-on-one, fill out a blue card, that'd be appreciated.
Happy birthday, Pat. Real quick. Hey, you guys got to give us the 3 minutes. This is totally unfair, especially when you prepare something. Good evening, council members and Michael Gates. Hey, at the city council meeting, at the last city council meeting, after the 3 incumbents lost their seats, who I don't agree with most of the time, okay, and when they lost their seats and their mics, Mr. Gates took the opportunity to go off on them, repeating their full names at least over 20 times, criticizing their work while they had a chance, well, they had no chance to respond. Okay, he also bragged that he also bragged out how the council wasted over $80,000 to force him to unseal the air show settlement that he tried to keep confidential. Okay, here's a clue, Mr. Gates. Okay, when you go to such lengths to keep big settlements sealed, it usually means that it was a lousy deal, or you would have made it public and you would have taken all the credit for it. Come on, you know you. Okay, I'm ashamed to ask, why did you approve a deal that gave away all the profits from the air show to a private company while taxpayers paid we're going to be paying the bill for all the labor, for everything, while they're taking all our money for over the next 10 years. Okay, and just because, okay, an oil pipeline leaked on the last day of the show, okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, Mr. Gates, how much money did you spend prosecuting me, okay, for trying to stop my car from being unlawfully towed for an expired registration that wasn't even expired long enough to warrant a tow? Okay, yet you charged me with obstructing an officer and a parking official, okay, and I'm looking at 2 years, but the underlying charge of towing the car for expiration doesn't exist. Okay, and because I wouldn't take your great deal, which included paying $600 and attending an anger management class, okay, you sent me to mental court, okay, saying that if I have to plead guilty, okay.
Thanks, Roger. That was some good information.
This is
but you ran out of
insane.
time. Thank you.
This is insane. Thank you. 3 minutes, guys. Come on.
Any more speakers?
A few more speakers.
All right.
Perry Clithrow, Tim Geddes, Victor Lepzig, Amanda Herring. Please come to the podium.
Good evening, Council. My name is Perry Clithrow. Thank you for hearing me out today. I came here to speak in regards to our mayor's items on high-density housing and public transit. I was grateful to see you identify the city's poor public transit quality. If this council seeks to adapt, improve, and invest in a safer, cleaner, and more efficient transit network, I will be super excited, and I look forward to working with you guys on that. My little sister is disabled. We grew up in Huntington Beach. She used the bus network a lot when she reached adulthood to get to classes and get to work at OCC. It was a nightmare. The buses were always late if they showed up at all. It was a true nightmare for her in a lot of ways. I would discourage you guys from seeing high-density housing in opposition to our transit network. I felt this way too about 15 years ago when the Pacific City project was proposed and being debated. I was wrong. The housing shortage goes hand in hand with our poor public transit quality. When we don't build homes here, workers have to come from out of town. When we build our homes here, our workforce doesn't have to drive from Santa Ana, from Brea, from Corona, and beyond. The cost to rent a 3-bedroom home in Huntington Beach is $5,100, making us the most expensive mid-sized city in America. We need to trust the market to allocate housing, not politicians and bureaucrats. Additionally, the claim that dense housing will stress city services is backwards. Dense housing results in lower per capita infrastructure costs. New property owners, and dense ones in particular, pay more in property taxes than their neighbors and have a clear and positive contribution on our fiscal situation as a city. Even before considering the massive development fees that the extortionists at the planning department take from home builders and new residents to try to keep things going along as normal. 3 of you are businessmen. You know the value of the free market. You guys have contributed greatly to society because of it. Tony, you've been a elected Republican since I was 6. I know you value it too. Get the government out of the way. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Burns and City Council. Tim Geddes here. I am presenting to the mayor my Christmas card, which is also directed to the City Council. The inscription reads, "A special wish for a happy and wonderful Christmas." While it features a diversity of Christmas trees, it says, "As you would prefer, Christmas and not merely happy holidays." My special wish, however, is that you and the council actually include diversity and transparency in all your decision-making this historic year of 7-0 solidarity. With no elected guardrails, only you can make that happen. And I and many in the community look forward to seeing what your best efforts in this undertaking produce in the new year. I would now like to thank you for pulling item 15 and refer to my letter last week in opposition. While the item discusses environmental impacts in some detail, it does not really fully address community impacts which could be of interest or concern to the citizenry and taxpayers, and we've heard a few of those concerns tonight. Until a satisfactory cost-benefit analysis is shared with our residents with attendant public input, the council should take no action on approving this any agreement, and there have been several good suggestions on including avenues for public input to occur. Anyway, thank you again, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good evening, Mayor Burns and council members. My name is Vic Leipzig, longtime resident and actually former council member and mayor for the city of Huntington Beach in the distant past. I'm here to speak on item 15 and to express, first of all, my gratitude for that item being pulled from the agenda tonight. I'm speaking tonight both on my behalf as a resident of the city and on behalf of the Orange County chapter of the Audubon Society called CN Sage Audubon. We are concerned on the Audubon side about the impacts of this symphony of flowers on the wildlife of the park. I personally am concerned about the impacts on users of the park and on local residents. In any event, I won't berate you any longer with the issues that you've heard from many, many other members of the public on, but we'll simply say the Symphony of Flowers sounds like a wonderful idea, but Huntington Central Park East is definitely not the right location for that event. Do your best to find another location for it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amanda Herring, a resident of Huntington Beach, and I'm speaking out also against agenda item 15. I'm a naturalist at Shipley Nature Center, and I've spent the last 3 years restoring Irby Park with native plants, so I'm very passionate about our green spaces. I can tell you exactly what the impacts of light and noise pollution is on our wildlife. At Irby, just after 2 hours of cutting down dead trees, the great horned owls, the 2 of them that live there, were disappeared for about 4 months. And if Also, it disrupts the animals' circadian rhythms, affecting their sleep cycles. And the birds use stars at night to navigate, and so artificial light causes them to veer off track. And the artificial light causes them to go towards the light as well, which can help confuse them and cause them to get encounters with unknown or new predators, and much more. Hormonal things, reproduction, lots of effects. So Shipley, Urban Forest, Secret Garden, and now Irby Park are gems in our city. And what if we put our energy into collaborating with these nonprofits to put for events for our community that celebrate our green spaces and educate the next generation to be conscientious stewards of the earth. And I would move that you remove the item from the consent calendar and move it to regular business for full public discussion, delay any vote until license agreement is publicly available and all parties have adequate time to review, obtain and report publicly a legal opinion clarifying compliance with Measure C, and require a supplemental EIR to evaluate the environmental and wildlife impacts. 20 minutes. And we plan a lot of events for the community at Shipley Nature Center, and there has been so much expressed gratitude and joy about getting out into some of these hidden gems. And I would love to see more imagination in how we can also utilize some way of restoring our fiscal deficit, but also in a way that supports what I think that many people prefer.
Any more speakers, clerk?
That concludes our speakers.
Okay. Council committee appointment announcements. Council members, do you have any council committee appointment announcements?
I do. I'd like to announce that I'm appointing Dominic McGee as my planning commissioner and Jagnesh Badiar as my CPAB commissioner.
All right, I'll make the announcement that I am appointing Brian Thenis as my planning commissioner. Chad?
Make the announcement that I'm appointing Brett Bush as my planning commissioner, Jeannie Paris as community and library service commission, and Scott Dowds as finance commission.
Butch, you got anybody? Sorry, didn't wake you?
No, I'm trying to remember. I'm appointing Ken Babineau to Planning Commission, Paul Geary to Finance Commission, Dennis Pappas to CPAB, Steve Barnes to Libraries and Parks. That's all I can remember right now. Thank you.
Don?
I'll be appointing Ben Goldberg to Planning Commission, Stephen Quinn to CPAB, and David Clifford to Public Works.
Any others? Okay. AB 1234 reporting. Does anyone have anything to report? Nope. Openness and negotiation disclosures. Does anybody have anything to disclose? Okay, at this time, city manager's report. Travis?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and City Council. With a little bit of sadness today, I want to congratulate our fire chief, Scott Haberly, and I would like to invite him to come up here and stand with the mayor here shortly while I say some nice things about him. He's going to retire by the end of this year. He has done 36 of public safety service for our community and other communities within Southern California. Before coming to our city, he was an explorer for the city of Monrovia, a fire cadet for the city of Monrovia. He was hired as a firefighter in 1992 and left Monrovia as deputy chief. He was the fire chief in Monterey Park, and he came to the city of Huntington Beach in early 2020, and so he's served nearly 5 years for the city of Huntington Beach. A few things that I'd like to say about him is he worked to really create a culture of leadership within our fire department, provide customer service to our community, provide operational efficiencies for the fire department, and during his time, he did place an emphasis on succession planning and the growth of the staff in his fire department. So with that, I'd invite the mayor up and fire chief. Yeah, he's going to ask you in just a second. Yes, yes.
I'll step up here. Unlike Travis, I'm stoked for you. I did it once, retired. It's a good life. You did 36 years, 5 years with us. You deserve a good retirement. I heard you going off to work. I think, man, just enjoy life. Life's short, but do what you want. That's what's great about retirement. You get to do what you want. And with this, we'll give you accommodation for your service for Huntington Beach, and we greatly appreciate it. And at this time, we will invite everybody up first for pictures, then we'll open it up for comments. Chief.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
So, Chief, I would like to echo the mayor and folks in the audience. You know, I have to say, I've never seen someone that never has a bad day. You're always smiling. You're always optimistic. You're always uplifting. As I talk to members of your team, they're here. A lot of them are here. No one's ever said a bad thing about you. I need to learn that because I know people say bad things about us, but you know, no one's ever said a bad thing about you. And you're a problem solver. The Huntington Beach was lucky to have you as our fire chief. You lead, as I interviewed you when I was mayor, it's very complex, all the things that you're responsible for. A lot of people don't understand how complex the fire department is, and you led a great department, and we'll miss you. Don't go far. We'll still seek your advice, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of myself, but also Huntington Beach owes you a debt of gratitude for your leadership over the last few years. Thank you.
Anybody else? Case?
Yeah, Chief, just thank you again for your service. It's been a pleasure working with you for these past 2 years. Tony touched on it. I don't think I've ever met someone nicer than you. You know, it's really true. Learned a lot. I really appreciate. It's pretty rare in the public sector that department, especially in public safety, can actually bring in revenue. And Chief Halber's done a really good job in creating efficiencies within the fire department, shifts, staffing, operational efficiencies, but also really being proactive to bring in revenue to the city through the CalOptima program, advertising on the lifeguard towers, and some other great ideas. And he's really set up the city for success in the future with his succession planning and getting everyone on the same page through his leadership to carry the mantle and keep our fire department in good hands for years to come. So really grateful. Wish you well in your future endeavors and health and prosperity. Thank you.
Chief Haberly, I'd just like to say that I've had many conversations with the firefighters that work hard for you and work hard for the city. And the measure of a true leader is what you learn from the people that you lead. And the conversation I've had all point to you being a fantastic leader. My only regret is that you are leaving now and I don't have time to work with you and learn from you. So best of luck in your retirement and thank you for the 5 years of service you've given to the city of Huntington Beach. You'll be missed.
Congratulations, Chief Haberly. It's been great getting to know you over the last year. I think the very first time I met you, I was introduced to you by Mayor Strickland at the time over at Starbucks, and you always remembered me. I'm not a very memorable person, but you always remembered my first name. Then I saw you at meetings, and I just want to thank you. I want to echo what Don said. Every firefighter that I know that I've talked to here in Huntington Beach cherishes you, and I know they'll miss you. I'll miss you. Congratulations and good luck in the future.
Chief, like the others, I want to congratulate you. I've gotten to know you from a distance. It could genuinely be said that you have a reputation that precedes yourself. And just asking the guys, what is it about the man? Because truly, no one has ever said a bad thing about you. I got to know, what is it that's different about this guy? And they express that you are a servant leader, that you really have invested into them and esteemed their needs as greater than your own. And you got a group of sheepdogs and sled dogs that are willing to go running into the fire for you. So job well done. You definitely have fought the good fight. I hope you enjoy your retirement. Thank you for your service.
Chief Haberly, I want to thank you for your generosity with your time, your wisdom, your knowledge. You have this zen in you that when I was to come in a little hot up with an issue, all you had to do is say, well, let's sit down and let's talk about it. I'm really grateful for that. I hope you enjoy all the rest of your time with your grandbaby, the best experience ever. And I still have your cell phone number, so don't think you're going to get away that easy.
Chief, you want to say anything?
Thank you very much. I think it's been, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here in Huntington Beach. I think when I look back on my career, I never thought, as a young firefighter in Monrovia, that I would finish my career in such an amazing place. I think every day I've been here, it's been wonderful. The community is so supportive of public safety, of our the fire department and police, the council. You have all been so incredible of how much support you've given me personally, the department itself, and public safety here. I think all of that has just made every challenge and everything we've worked through together just inspiring and amazing. And I think that all of you are so passionate about Huntington Beach and so passionate about this community and what it's about. And so as a director and kind of working, it's so great to lead with people like that because the kind of enthusiasm and excitement you have for this city and all the time and effort you put into it, it makes it easy for us to come in right there and work with you. So I really appreciate all of that. I'm grateful for the staff, the department heads that I get to work with. Excited about Travis's role moving forward. He's such an exceptional leader. Getting to work with Chief Parra for that last year. I mean, it's just over and over again, there's just some really incredible people here that I get to work with, and I'm always going to be very grateful for that. So thank you.
Michael, do you have some?
How many minutes do I get?
One.
Oh, okay.
30 seconds.
So I've worked with Chief Haberly all his 5 years here, and I can back up everything that everybody's been saying about his leadership and how nice he is. It's actually hard to believe a chief could be so nice. But one thing I do want to remind people of is what Haberly's leadership was faced with when he basically first took the job, and that was the COVID pandemic. And all the shutdowns, and being in this spot, in the role that I'm in, I got to see firsthand what the police department went through and trying to respond to that and deal with that, and also the fire department. And that's the kind of crisis that you don't really train for. I mean, you do, but you don't. It's all very hypothetical until it happens. And our fire department, our first responders were incredible. They were amazing. I think they set the standard really countywide for how to handle a crisis. And so that's really a testament to the great leadership that we had, both in our fire department, but also our police department. So I remember that vividly. I remember all the conversations, all the concerns, how our first responders were responding safely, but also trying to save lives, all the calls that you guys were going on, round the clock, absolutely amazing. So it's in my mind vividly, just a great time to show great leadership. And so I commend you for all of that. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the consent calendar, 9 through 22 items. Would anybody like to pull an item? I'm reminding everybody 15's already been pulled by the owner. Do I have a motion?
I move the consent calendar.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Twining.
Aye.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Aye.
Councilmember, excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem
That's fine.
McKeon.
Yes.
Mayor Pat Burns.
Aye.
Councilmember Vandermark. Councilmember Strickland.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Vote passes 7-0.
All right, moving on to item 23, adopt resolution number 2024-61, accepting and approving the development impact fee report for fiscal year 23-24 and to make findings as required by Government Code Section 66006 and 66001. Staff, please introduce your report.
Thank you, Mayor. Our interim Chief Financial Officer, David Kane, will provide the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. What is before you this evening is the annual report on the development impact fees. There are 8 different fees that are collected from developers. Those fees are utilized for improvements in specific areas. So an annual report is put together, has to come before this body before the end of this fiscal year. So it includes this last year about $2.3 million in revenue for these 8 different funds, and then also included in here is approximately $4.4 million in various expenditures related to these specific fees. The expenditures include various park improvements, police facilities, including their communication center, library reconfiguration, parking for downtown shuttle, some drainage upgrades along with sewer upgrades, and then some traffic signal improvements throughout the community. The thing is that the money that comes in each year needs to be spent on these specific areas. They have to be spent within a 5-year period of time. If they're not done within that 5-year period of time, we have to identify projects. We have done that. So of these 8, 2 of them do not have money that is older than 5. The others do. And included in the report is specific projects that are assigned to these various funds that will be utilized once we accumulate enough money to be able to do some of those projects. So we're meeting all of the requirements of the DIF fund, and so it is staff's recommendation to accept and approve the fiscal year 23-24 DIF report and adopt resolution number 2024-61 required by the Government Code section identified here. That concludes my report, and would be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Does anybody have any questions? I'll make the motion to accept as recommended.
I'll second.
All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Twining.
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon.
Yes.
Mayor Burns.
Aye.
Councilmember Vandermark.
Yes.
Tony Strickland.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Vote passes 7-0.
All right. Go on to the council member items. Number 24, submitted by myself, Mayor Pro Tem McKeon, and Councilmember Vandermark, High Density Residential Development Health and Safety Criteria, which will be presented by Mayor Pro Tem McKeon.
Thank you, Mayor. Housing development projects often forego necessary amenities that contribute to public health and safety in the design and construction of residential buildings and site planning in order to maximize profits at the expense of public health and safety. Significant adverse health and safety impacts occur as a direct result of development projects that perpetuate overcrowding and do not provide open space areas, access to public parkland, or access to public transit and reliable transportation options. Studies show overcrowding can affect mental health, stress levels, sleep, and may increase the risk of infectious disease. In Huntington Beach, multifamily developments construct studio and single bedroom units with small overall square footage in order to maximize financial profits. This results in a lack of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and greater size units, thereby perpetuating overcrowding. Residential development projects often construct buildings upwards and outwards on a project site to maximize the quantity of building floor area while minimizing areas of private and common open space and recreational amenities, vegetation and trees, and public parks to accommodate the most profitable project. Inadequate access to open space and recreational parks, coupled with reduced areas of vegetation and trees, results in significant adverse impacts to public health, including mental health impacts, poor air quality, and chronic disease. Reliable, accessible, safe, and healthy public transportation options do not exist in Huntington Beach, and residents are forced to rely on commuting by car. Drivers are contributing to increased GHG emissions while simultaneously absorbing the associated negative health and safety impacts. A lack of access to frequent, reliable public transportation results in increased traffic vehicle crashes, increased air pollution, and associated respiratory illnesses, and decreased physical activity levels. When housing development projects provide neither a sufficient quantity of on-site automobile parking spaces, ADA-compliant parking spaces, or electric vehicle charging stations for residents, nor access to high-quality public transportation, the residents suffer adverse health and safety impacts. So my recommended action is to ensure that high-density residential developments do not cause significant and adverse impacts to public health and safety, direct staff to develop criteria to ensure these issues are addressed in future high-density residential developments. Thank you.
All right. Do we have making a motion?
Yes, sir.
Can I?
Yeah, we'll open it for discussion. I'll second it. Discussion.
So I'm against the high-density development for Huntington Beach, and so I commend you for bringing this forward. But I will also just say it's different for different folks. I mean, some people talk about the mental health and overcrowding. I will tell you, I almost moved to New York out of college, and some people like the urban lifestyle. Some people like living in the urban lifestyle. Many times when people want, and Governor Newsom wants to turn us into San Francisco, my reaction is go to LA, go to New York, because some people like that. For example, my sister, she thinks it's too big here in Huntington Beach. She likes the rural lifestyle. I do believe in personal responsibility in terms of the kind of community you move into, so I get where we're coming from Huntington Beach, but I just want to put it on the record, because I know that people ask me at different parts. For Huntington Beach, I do believe that we should do whatever we can to prevent high-rise, high-density, because we need to preserve the suburban coastal community. But again, on some of this language, I think I would beg to differ if, for example, some people want to live in an urban community, which is not Huntington Beach, by the way. But I understand where the author is coming from, but I just want to clarify that for the record.
And that's fair, and I think to further clarify, it's not necessarily against the high-density projects, but to ensure that there's health and safety criteria that's implemented in these projects, like open space, green space, to increase the quality of life and health and safety of the residents. That's more like the genesis, but I understand your point.
Any other discussion? The motion's been made. It's been seconded. Please call the roll.
Can I get who was the first and second, please?
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon was the first, and I was the second.
Councilmember Twining?
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McKeon?
Yes.
Mayor Pat Burns?
Aye.
Councilmember Vandermark?
Yes.
Councilmember Strickland?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 25. I have concerns regarding the nature and extent of the information presented at the recent project hearing for the Bolsa Chica Senior Care Community Project, which was brought before Council on October 15th, 2024. I recommend that an ad hoc committee comprised of City Council members, city staff, and City Attorney's Office for consulting reasons to be formed to review the process and information related to this. I'd also like to just add maybe when the council members appointed, we'll talk about this, see if we want a planning commissioner added to that. But recommended action is to form a city council ad hoc committee consisting of 3 council members, city council members, to review the process and information regarding the Bolsa Chica Senior Care Community Project. The ad hoc committee will receive support from the Community Development and the City Attorney's Office staff during this review. So it'll be 3 council members, maybe 1 council with consulting to the city staff resources. And later return with a recommendation if there's enough evidence and information to revoke or amend the specific plan that was permitted through that project on October 15th for the Bolsa Chica Senior Care Community Project. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All right, no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Twining?
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy?
Yes.
Councilmember McKeon?
Yes.
Mayor Pat Burns?
Aye.
Councilmember Vandermark?
Yes.
Councilmember Strickland?
Aye.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Mayor, I'd like to move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, let me remind before we close, the Huntington Beach City Council and Public Financing Authority regular meeting of January 7th, 2025 has been canceled. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Huntington Beach City Council Public Financing Authority is Tuesday, January 24th, 2025 in the Civic Center Council Chambers, 2000 Main Street, Huntington Beach, California. We are adjourned.